Yo, what's up guys? Kyle today with another YouTube video. And I'm going to be releasing some build guides on various champions just to help you guys out for your last month climb. And honestly, they might be viable even next season. So just keep them in mind, builds don't change that much. But yeah, right now, when you take your look at your shards, you can go either, well, you always go attack speed with adaptive, and then you can go scaling HP or tenacity. So this tenacity shard, it got buffed recently, and it's actually very good to take if they have lots of CC and you don't want to wait for merc treads in the mid game. There's three runes, three main keystones you can take. It's Conquer, Lethal Tempo, and PTA. Nothing else is really viable. Hail Blitz is not, Phase Rush is not. First Strike, all these random runes, they don't feel worth to take. These are the three best runes you can take on Kindred. And to me, the most consistent will always be PTA. And then after that is Conquer, and then Lethal. That'll be my order. Honestly, I should put in the order in the graphic. But yeah, usually I go PTA most of my games, especially if I'm playing crits. But Conquer and Lethal are kind of the same case where if you can somewhat scale towards get past like the 8-minute mark, 10-minute mark, these runes do very good job in team find departments. It's just that the early game is quite weak. Conquer is stronger than Lethal Tempo in early game because Lethal requires you to stagger to 6, and even the damage is not that good compared to Conquer. The Conquer you get AD, you also get effective HP, which just feels better. But Lethal Tempo does have a higher cap than over all these runes if you get a lot of marks and get to your like 3-4 items. So for your sub runes, you go Triumph, Alacrity. You can go Coup or Cut Down, never Last Stand. I usually go Coup because I tend to play very aggressive in early game. Because the champion already scales very well later parts of the game when you get to your items, your 4+ marks. I really need some early game power, so I like Coup. Cut Down is a lot better in the mid game, but it's not that good in the early game for a jungler. And for runes, I either go Triple Tonic or Jack of all trades, which is like the most amount of stats you can have on Kindred if you are planning to build Triforce. If you don't want to go Triforce, but you still want to take Inspiration, you can go Free Boots with Triple Tonic or Free Boots with Cosmic. If they have a lot of ultimate reliant champions, you can go Sudden Impact with Ulti Hunter. Now there are 5 builds. I'm going to show you the most consistent builds and then the more like psycho builds. So first you got Kraken into either Collector or Triforce, and then you start building more crit, or you can build like kind of on hits variants. So usually if let's say you go Kraken Triforce, which to me is like one of the best builds to do if you are snowballing the game, you can go Withstand LDR, and that's pretty much all the damage you would need in the game. If you go Kraken Collector, now you kind of need to commit to crits. You could go Withstand if you are very ahead in the game. So if you can get like Tabai Withstand combo, which makes you very tanky, gives you a good amount of tenacity, you're very hard to kill, and then the only damage you really need after all that is buying Last Whisper. So the only cases where you would need Last Whisper second, I mean, it doesn't feel that good to do it when you're Kraken first, but if let's say you're Triforce first, which I'll show you after, buying Last Whisper early, can be good. But yeah, usually this is the build. For Zeal items, you usually want to go, you can go PD or like Rapid Fire. The other ones are kind of like whatever on Kindred. So this is like the Kraken on-hit build. You really rely on Kraken and Cleaver as your damage items. You could buy Bork later on to up your damage more. But when you build like this, or like on-hit in general on Kindred, you need a lot of marks. Like marks will carry your damage in the mid to late game, but early game you rely on like Kraken and Cleaver. So after the 2 core, you can go Withstand. You can buy like randoms later on. Your Zeal item will usually be like Runeans or PD when you're playing on hits, so you can like get a lot more damage in, or you can like be able to like chase them. And then like your end game is usually like BT, which gives you a lot of AD after level 14 and a lot of survivability. Triforce into crits. So you go Triforce, Collector, and then you buy pretty much all the crit items. Usually you go LDR third or Moral Reminder, depending if you need heal cut or not. And then you buy whatever you need for the game. You can go Triforce, or not Triforce, sorry. You can go Wit's End if you want to be tankier, or you can buy more damage, like IE, BT. Well, BT you don't really buy till like last item, but like all the damage you really need when you play builds like this is like you need your LDR, and that's it pretty much. Like the rest of your items could be completely flexible. That's why you see Zeal item and Shobo being like situational, because like you can just slot them in like after your Last Whisper, or even before if you're like very fed and like they won't be stacking too much armor yet, you know? Because usually sometimes you only need the Last Whisper component, not the full Lord Dominic's or Mortal Reminder. Now, Triforce Unhits, another build where you rely on marks, but look at your like items. You are very tanky, a lot of haste, which means you get more QW rotations in, so you are still doing lots of damage, but you really need to get to 7-10 marks to be able to like keep up in the game. But you know, this build does allow you to do that. If you are able to get those marks, you really want to fight like all the time. And after your 2 core, you go, you go whatever you need. Usually you can go Wits End, you can go Zoo items like Renans or PD, and then if you want more damage, you can go Bork, and then you want to end off the build with BT, Bloodthirster. And you're very frontliney. You will play like kind of like a bruiser, but like you're very tanky and hard to kill. So this is the best build, in my opinion, to do right now. Is the most stats you can get. To me, Kindred is a very weak champion in the early game. Early to like kind of early mid game. And this champion, if you don't have stats, you can't play the game. Like, she's just weak, but she scales very hard with marks and items. So to me, this is the best build you can do. You go Triforce, which makes you like it helps you play the game pretty much, and then you buy Lord Dominic's or Mortal Reminder, whichever one you need. And if you look at how many stacks these items give, you pretty much will have 10 stacks at your 3 core, and which is a lot of stats, free stats you can get. And let's say if you need to go Mercs over Tabas, ideally you go Tabas always with 10, so you maximize your stats, like your stacks for Jack of all trades. But if you need to go Merc Treads, then you can buy an armor item like GA or Death Dance or Randuin's later on. But yeah, to me, building like this is the best way to play Kindred right now, because it gives you ways to play the game and also allows you to reliably scale to where like you're able to kind of just win the game as a 80 carry. 80 carry role, Kindred is an 80 carry, so like you do need to scale end of the day. This is the Yuntal build. You go Yuntal into Triforce. The reason why you go Triforce and not like Glass Cannon crit playing Yuntal is because I'd rather have more reliable items to play with, so I can like scale. You can go like on hit with Yuntal. It's kind of funny. Not many people think about it, but you can. You do have enough damage, or you can go full crit. Either way, whichever one you want. Because the point of this build is to rely on like buff your lethal tempo rune as much as possible, and then just go crazy. That's the only point of building Yuntal, because the passive helps you get your stacks on lethal tempo a lot faster and gives you a lot of damage. So you can go on hit or you can go crit. Either or, it's fun.